Welcome, Dave.
Hey, boys.
It's always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for joining us as you have your drive to check out the Leafs tonight. But I just wanted to start off with asking you about Brady Tkachuk. Obviously the season's underway, still not signed. Where do we stand with that? You hear a lot of things that he doesn't want to go long term, and also does the 8-year, $63 million extension to Nick Suzuki come into play with what he might get, being that they've both averaged about 40, 45 points so far in their time in the NHL.
Yeah, I think that Suzuki's deal might benefit the Sens a little bit because it sounded like the numbers for him might have been higher. But yeah, I mean, you said it. This is basically a short-term versus long-term scenario, and who's going to budge first. Now, there were talks earlier on in the summer that it sounded at the time like things were moving positively towards a long-term 8-year extension. And obviously the season started last night, and he's still, I don't know if he's in St. Louis or if he's in Michigan. I think he went back to St. Louis. But that's kind of where things are at. So whoever kind of budges first, I mean, that's when we'll start to see some additional progress at this stage. But, you got to keep in mind, from Ottawa's perspective, I mean, they're not naming a captain. So it's clear that they view him as the next captain. Mm-hmm. They're not up against the cap. They got the most cap space in the league. They're not a cup contender at this stage. So, you wait it out. And would they rather him be there? Obviously, and of course. But it's not as pressing as it might be for other teams in other scenarios. If they were a cup contender or on the cusp, then there'd be a lot more panic. But I'm just not seeing it from Ottawa, which is why they seem willing to dig their heels in.
Now, just a quick follow-up there. With Willie Nylander a couple of years ago, if you remember, he literally took to like 458 on December 1st to get his contract signed. Do you think it could possibly go as far as that, or is it not nearly as contentious yet?
I mean, it really depends, again, how hard each side is willing to stand firm. As of now, anything is possible. It wouldn't shock me. But it doesn't, at least the message that's being put across from both sides is that it's not getting there. Not anytime soon. So is there a stalemate? Yeah. Are they optimistic that one side's going to bend a little bit and really get this thing rolling again? Also, yes. So, I mean, we just got to kind of wait and see. And again, like with Willie's deal, it affected his overall cap hit because he signed mid-season and it adjusted the numbers. The Sens don't care if that happens because, again, they've got, they're just above the floor. So for them, it doesn't matter.
Dave, now with the bombshell about Dylan Strome being dropped yesterday by Pierre LeBrun, what are you hearing about him? Are you hearing that any teams are interested, or any specific teams at this point, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, with it's funny because both him and Ryan Strome were, rumored to be available over the course of the summer, and Ottawa had inquired about both, and there was belief that one of them was going to the Senators. They just couldn't figure out who. And, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, and Ryan's for now staying in New York. But with Dylan, I believe the Sens have re-engaged on that front. I think Buffalo to a certain extent as well. He's got a $3 million cap hit. He's effectively being used as a fourth-line guy in Chicago. He's fallen out of favor there. Can he be a legit 3C guy? Can he move up on another team and be a 2C, and then hopefully he lives up to some of the potential? I think given the right opportunity, that's possible. But it's really going to come down to what the asking price is. I don't know what that price is at this point. But again, he's an RFA at the end of the summer, or at the end of the season, in the summer, and he's got arbitration rights. So that'll play a bit of a factor into what type of price is really going to be paid once he gets moved, because certainly sounds like it's a matter of when and not if. The when, though, I mean, we're still early on in the season, so this could be something that drags out for a little while.
Dave, we had an entire rundown ready to go, and then the New York Rangers made us scrap some of it because of the Vitaly Kravtsov situation. We were just talking about it before you got on. I guess, how is this going to end?
I mean, if it follows the trend now, it ends on him being on a different team. I mean, I don't know if you want to blame the Rangers. You might want to blame him more than anything. But look, this is a guy that the anticipation was he was going to be making the team. That there wasn't really any talk of if you don't, or if you have a crappy camp, or this, that, and the other, then we got to discuss some options. The mentality was he was being put on this roster, and he was going to be part of the Rangers this season. And things changed because he had a subpar camp in their eyes. So, I mean, at this point, like he's unofficially asked for a trade. He's unofficially wink wink nudge nudge. The agent's been given permission, as it's been reported. He wants a change. He wants to be in an environment where he feels he can be an everyday NHLer and then climb the ranks from there into being a legit top 6 offensive threat. So now it comes down to how much pull can Dan Milstein have, his agent, in trying to up his value and potential to another team. And then it's up to Drury and his crew to figure out what the right package is and what they want. I mean, do they want to move him and just say, the hell with this, and we'll give you picks and prospects, or we'll take picks and prospects? Or do they want to package it and maybe bolster the defensive core or, another part of the roster? I mean, you look at the Rangers, they're a lot deeper than I think a lot of people anticipated they would be to start this season. So maybe it's the defensive core that they look to bolster, or you combo it and you bolster that, or you just say the heck with this and we'll get prospects and picks. But it's still too early. But the fact that the agent is helping the process along, that typically bodes well in these situations.
Just to follow up, is there any chance of reconciliation?
I mean, sure, the Rangers could turn around and say, our bad. We think that, you can be an everyday guy and we'll slot you in the roster right away. That's what it sounds like. So, I mean, the longer this drags out, the more of an opportunity it is for the player to, sit back, suck it back and go, all right, I'll eat this for now. I'm an RFA. In the summer, we'll go from there. So that's a possibility too. But again, this is still fresh. I mean, I'd say about a week ago, there was an indication that he probably wasn't going to be making the team. And that's when, that process started to get going from the agent side of things. So, I mean, we'll see how things progress here in the next little while.
Now, Dave, I'm sick of really talking about this guy, but with Jack Eichel, it's been going on forever.
I'm not sure we ever mentioned Jack Eichel's name.
It was like,
we just lost 5 viewers.
I believe it was a week ago. It was reported that maybe things are progressing a little bit. I'm a little skeptical still about it. There's a lot of money that would have to go back the other way, and he still has the issue about which procedure he's going to have, and he hasn't had a surgery yet. So, I mean, do you really think there has been progress, or do you think this is something that still, may, take a while to play out here?
I mean, there's been some progress in the entire saga, I guess. One chapter has been figured out. Another one is almost there. The big chapter, the climax, is obviously figuring out what the hell the package is going to be. But the fact that more teams, because I think I reported this in summer too, that some teams were given some indication of his medical records, and now appears that they've seen more of it, and other teams have as well. But at this stage, guys, look, it sounds like teams are comfortable, or at least majority of the teams still in the mix are comfortable with the artificial disc replacement surgery. So now it's a matter of how the heck do we figure out what type of packages is going to be. Well, you wanted a minimum of 4 key assets, 4 top-tier prospects or first-round picks or equivalent as part of a package for Jack Eichel. Well, okay, we're going to give you 2, and the other 2 will be in the compensation fashion or equivalency, or we're going to give you 2, top-tier assets. We're going to give you a B or a C, and then we're going to add some terms to the deal that would allow for really getting creative in this. Saying, okay, if he comes down to that, do I think, the names in Calgary, San Jose's, Columbus's, do I still think they're kicking around? I do. The Rangers were to a certain extent until they got Zibanejad locked up. And now, I mean, look, from San Jose's side of things, first of all, they got to know what the heck's going on with Vander Kane, because that's $7 million off the books currently. But if he somehow miraculously is cleared of all the negative stuff that's against them with respect to the investigation the NHL is doing, breaking protocols and fake vaccine passport and all that stuff. If he's cleared of all that, then he comes back on the team. If he's not, then it sounds like his cap hit will remain off the books. So that gives the Sharks a little bit of flexibility there. But we'll see kind of how things go. I mean, again, there's clarity, and there seems to be, at least these teams seem to be comfortable with the disc replacement surgery. It's just a matter of how do we finagle the right package to make everybody happy, and we're not there yet. But, as I reported last week, Pat Brisson is fully engaged in this, the agent, and is helping out as well. So that usually helps, especially with Pat's track record.
Dave, I saw your article earlier on about John Klingberg. If you were a betting man, do you say that this gets done, and how soon do you think it would get done?
Well, as of now, not very soon. I reported this yesterday on NHL Network and then wrote about it, as you said, today with respect to his situation. They were working towards an 8-year deal, or at least that was the focal point, was an 8-year extension. That's what he wants, and it sounds like that's what the team was willing to do, but they're just far apart on the dollars and the structure of everything. So, I mean, unless this really escalates in the next couple of days here, this is probably going to be something that gets dragged out. And then you kind of go from there. There's no set deadline. I mean, Klingberg and his agent are willing to, have this go throughout the season. Obviously, the agent will focus on everything, Peter Whalen. But we'll see how we'll see how things kind of roll there. He was disappointed about not getting a deal before the start of the season. He thought they'd be able to get there. At least that was the impression when they started the negotiations in the summer, right before camp. But still no deal, and this could be something that drags out. Again, there's no set deadline, but I would be very surprised that if they don't get a deal done by the trade deadline, I would be surprised if he doesn't at least hit the market as a free agent to see what the value is there. So the Stars kind of have to decide what type of risk they want to take.
Our guest is Dave Pagnotta from the Fourth Period. Now, Dave, I gotta ask about my boys in the blue and orange here. We had Dan Rosa on a couple weeks ago, and he said that there's really no real holes in the Islanders lineup. If you look, maybe left side defense, and a lot of people in the media are giving them love to win the division, go to the finals. But I do agree their weakness on the left side after Adam Pelech. You're talking Zdeno Chara and Andy Green, older. So, and this is, a couple of months out, but could you see at the trade deadline the Islanders targeting a left-hand defenseman, maybe Hampus Lindholm got 1 year left in his deal? I know Matthias Ekholm would have been perfect, but he re-signed in Nashville. But is that the position that you could see the Islanders making a move for come the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, if everything is working smoothly and, the season's going well, you don't want to tinker too much with the chemistry. So I would imagine that's probably, barring injury or anything like that, I would imagine that's probably the area that they would want to address. Perhaps get a little bit more speed on that left side, more than anything. Not necessarily. I mean, you've got the responsible guys in your own zone from a defensive aspect, but perhaps you want to have somebody that's a little bit more mobile that can play that left side, which was one of the reasons they had Gustafsson at camp. Was to see if he'd be able to gel fit and can they make something work dollar-wise to get him in there. But a little more offensive, a little bit more mobile. That's probably something that they would address later on. Of course, barring any other holes in the lineup. But you're right. I think that's the primary because they like the makeup of their team, and quite frankly, so do I.
Dave, we were just talking about this a minute ago. With all the people that were named Rangers alternate captains yesterday, were you named one of the Rangers alternate captains? Because they basically have everybody.
No, but I heard Leach and Messier and Richter were given honorary A's again, part of this team. And that's a lot, boys. Like that's, you know,
you can't put an A on a goalie.
No, he's not playing anymore, so
that's true.
Honorary.
So you mean to tell us that Messier's double dipping?
He is, he's on the broadcast side. He's not allowed to talk about the Rangers per se because of this, but no, I'm just kidding. Look, that's a weird one. That obviously, I mean, we're joking about it a lot. We're not the only ones, trust me. I had a buddy of mine that plays on another team and asked why are they giving so many guys the A? But yeah, look, there's people around the league talking about it, but I mean, they like their leadership group, and I guess that's what they want to roll with for the time being. So it's an odd one, but whatever works.
So Dave, before we let you go, we play a game, a segment on the show. It's called Bar Talk, as one of Mark's profession is a bartender. We have a statement, and then you take a shot if you think it's, not going to happen or it's wrong. A beer if you kind of like lie in the middle, or
oh man, I would love to play this game in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll arrange that sometime.
So,
right.
I'll give you one on top. To be the first guest to actually play this with us, but. The statement is the Blue Jackets are rushing Cole Sillinger. So do you take a shot on that, a beer, or are you buying everyone around?
I was too busy making a joke about it. So what are the rules? Hold on. What are the rules again? If I agree, I take the drink.
So if you agree, if you agree, it would be you buying everyone around. If you lie in the middle,
okay,
it's a beer, or if you think it's wrong, not close, you're taking a shot on it.
Okay. I don't think they're rushing him. I think he had a hell of a camp. So I guess I'm taking the shot. Is that how it works?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a shot.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. I'm writing this down, by the way, or at least mentally. I'm driving, so I'm mentally jotting this down for later on. So
yeah, we don't need you doing shots while you're driving.
Yeah, no. No thanks.
So you looking forward to covering the Leafs game tonight?
I'm looking forward to a full building on this side of the border. Obviously it's been a while up here. So I'm looking forward to that more than anything, the atmosphere, everything that's there. Kind of hoping that the Leafs found a way to change their goal song. I don't think that's the case. It's
not a fan of Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates is still great.
Look, I love Hall & Oates, but I mean, for this goal song that's been going on for whatever, I mean, since Brendan Shanahan took over, he changed the goal song to this. I don't think people know this, but this is Brendan Shanahan's decision. That's the goal song, so it's sticking unless there's some huge shift and he's caving to everybody's pressure. But that'll stick around. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just a full building out here in the Leafs and Habs. And if the Leafs lose, just how panic-driven the city of Toronto will be, because it's game one, so why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, that's certainly true. All right, well, we'll let you go, Dave, but thanks for joining us. We always appreciate when you make time for us, and we'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Thanks for having me, as always, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, and there we go. And by the way, Dave Pagnotta, our first guest ever, went back when we were ATR still, so that's always great. And by the way, Hall & Oates, that's a good song to keep. Maybe I don't know. Maybe change their victory song since we can't hear it in the playoffs. If you like that video, we got a lot more. So check out any of these that are right over here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.